Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2021 horror comedy Ankle Biters, a film that is written and directed by Bennett de Bradendare, and it stars Marianne Evans and Zion Forrest Lee. Now this film focuses on Zion Forrest Lee's character Sean Chase, who is an ex-hockey player, quite a famous ex-hockey player in Canada, I believe. And he basically meets and falls in love with Marianne Evans' character Laura. However, she's got 4 children, 4 young daughters. However, that doesn't seem to bother Sean at all. He invites them up to his getaway place, his holiday location, this beautiful house, in order to, get to know the kids a little bit more in the hope that they will accept him into their lives. However, as it's a new relationship, they are quite active in the bedroom, and the kids mistakenly take that act for an act of violence against their mother, and they decide to plot to kill Sean in order to get him out of their lives. Right, what are my thoughts on Ankle Biters? This is a weird film. It is very, very strange. Not necessarily in a good way. It is very hard to know really where to start and describe this film. Okay, I'll try and go by the basics here. Okay, this is described as a horror comedy, and it's not scary, and it's not funny. I don't recall ever really even smirking at this film. And I do remember thinking a few times watching this film, this film would have worked probably much better as like a farce, maybe as a full-on comedy. It just doesn't blend these two things well, and when it does get very, very dark by the end of this film, it's a bit uncomfortable. I don't necessarily want to watch kids doing some of the things these girls are doing. And it kind of comes out of nowhere, because at the beginning of the film, they're quite innocent little kids, really, just doing what they do. And there's no suggestion or hint that they are evil in any way. You know what I mean? The mother's not disturbed. The mother doesn't have problems. There's no hint that the father was violent or anything like this. It's just that they mistake their acts of love, their mother and this new guy Sean, as basically him trying to hurt her, and it kind of escalates from there. But it's one of those films that as it begins to escalate, it just becomes more and more ridiculous, and it was just a very, very odd concept to me. I'd never felt comfortable watching it, and it's a shame. For the most part here, the film, even though it's obviously it's an independent film, it's low budget and stuff, it's got some fairly interesting characters in here, and the performances are all fine. Strangely as well, by all the little girls. Usually in low budget films, child actors, it can be a death sentence. It can sometimes be a death sentence in big budget films. But all these little girls here in this film, while as I don't think any of them could be earmarked for future Oscars or anything. They do a remarkably decent job here. They hit the marks, they say the lines, they look sinister when they're meant to look sinister, and it works fine. So the director here has done a good job with these child actors, and the 2 primary actors of Marianne Evans and Zion Forrest Lee are all fine. You kind of believe that they're in love. You believe it's a new relationship and all this kind of stuff. And he's trying really, really hard to make these girls happy and to make them fit in and feel part of his life and all this kind of stuff. So he's doing all the right things, and it just seems a bit bizarre, this sudden change in these girls, in the sense of it gets very, very dark. I mean, this is at best described as an ultra dark comedy, and I say that with some hesitancy, because like I say, I didn't find it funny. In fact, I found it uncomfortable at times in this, and it's confused in regards to what type of film it wants to be. Because there are moments in this film where it feels quite dramatic. There are moments in this film near the end of the film when it gets very, very dark, and that's clearly when it's treading in the horror territory or trying to. But it's pretty uncomfortable stuff. And at times it's almost like a very mild situational comedy at times, and I think for me, for this to have worked, I think it needed to be a little bit more tongue-in-cheek, and they needed to dial up the comedy and dial up the horror, but in a non-uncomfortable way, as I sort of felt it got by the end. The horror side of it and the violence was really uncomfortable. So this is a really odd film to review, really give a huge opinion on. I'll be honest, I didn't like it, but that's not to say it was a poorly made film. It's just a very odd film, and I'm just not sure how to categorize it. It's certainly not a horror comedy in the traditional sense. So I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 10. A real oddity of a film, but there might be something in there for you guys out there that, you know, like this sort of thing, like something a little bit different. So yeah, that's my review for Ankle Biters. I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching, and I will be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.